Henry Jones Sr., played by Sean Connery, is the father of Henry Indiana Jones Jr. As an archaeologist, Henry's deep passion for ancient relics is something that he has passed down to his son, who in 1912 is a young Boy Scout. During a scouting expedition in the Utah mountains, Indy stumbles upon a group of thieves who are stealing a national treasure, the Cross of Coronado, a priceless artifact dating back to the 1520s from an ancient cave. Indy firmly believes that such national treasures should be preserved in museums. In a bold move, he takes the artifact and makes his escape on horseback. The thieves immediately give chase, and Indy manages to board a passing train. However, he soon discovers that the train is transporting animals for a circus. In the chaos, Indy falls into a tub of snakes, which is a terrifying ordeal for him, given his fear of them. He also ends up in a lion's cage, where he must fight off the danger using his trusty whip. Eventually, Indy returns home, only to be confronted by the sheriff, who arrives with the thieves. They accuse Indy of stealing the artifact, and under pressure, he is forced to return it. In a final gesture, the thief leader places a fedora hat on Indy's head. In 1938, Indy finds himself on a ship, confronting the man who purchased the Cross of Coronado, and successfully retrieves the artifact, as he continues to believe that such treasures belong in a museum. Later that year, while at university, Indy receives a brown paper package from Venice, which he casually tucks into his pocket. He then hands the cross over to Marcus Brody, Denholm Elliott. Soon after, Indy is taken by three men to meet Walter Donovan, Julian Glover, a wealthy patron of the museum. Donovan, an oil magnate, reveals that his drilling team in Ankara has uncovered a fragment of a stone marker dating back to the 12th century. This marker mentions the Holy Grail, the sacred chalice used by Jesus during the Last Supper, and the cup that held his blood after the crucifixion. According to legend, the Grail was entrusted to Joseph of Arimathea and was lost for 1,000 years until 3 knights of the First Crusade discovered it. 2 of the knights walked out of a desert 150 years after finding the Grail and made their way back to France, but only one of them survived the journey. Before dying, the knight shared his story with a Franciscan friar, telling him that 2 markers had been left behind, which when combined would reveal the Grail's location. These 2 markers were placed in separate locations, and once joined, they would form a tablet that points to the Holy Grail's whereabouts. Donovan reveals that Indy's father, Henry Jones Sr., had been working on the search and had discovered the second marker that would lead to the Grail's location. However, Henry has disappeared. Henry had determined that the second marker was hidden in the tomb of the second knight in Venice, Italy. Donovan mentions that Henry's assistant, Dr. Elsa Schneider, Allison Duty, had informed him of Henry's disappearance. The package from Venice turns out to be Henry's diary, containing every known detail about the Grail. In Venice, Indy meets Dr. Elsa Schneider, and using the final clue left by his father, he is able to locate the second marker. Indy makes an impression of the second marker onto a piece of paper, which already bears the impression of the first marker. However, the tunnels where the marker is hidden are soaked in oil and set ablaze by a cult that is determined to prevent the discovery of the Grail. The cult, led by Kazım Kevork Malikian, is known as the Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword, and their sole mission is to protect the Grail at all costs. Indy narrowly escapes with Dr. Schneider, but they are relentlessly pursued by the cult. In a confrontation, Indy captures Kazım and learns that Henry is being held in the castle of Brunwald in Germany. Kazım warns Indy that the cult is prepared to go to any lengths to protect the Grail. He challenges Indy, asking if he seeks the Grail for his own glory or for the glory of God. Indy, alongside Marcus, carefully examines the markers and uncovers the name of a city, Alexandretta, located near the modern city of Iskenderun. Marcus finds a map of the Grail's quest in Henry's diary, which leads them to their next clue. Indy travels to Germany, only to discover that Dr. Schneider has been working for Walter Donovan all along. Donovan's true intention is to seize the Grail for himself and attain immortality. In Berlin, Walter presents Henry's diary, now missing a crucial page, the one containing the map, to Hitler. Meanwhile, Indy and Henry are imprisoned in the castle, but they manage to escape, setting the stage for their continued pursuit of the Grail. Meanwhile, Marcus arrives in Iskenderun and is greeted by Sala, John Rhys Davies. The two are soon confronted by German agents, who manage to kidnap Marcus and seize the map from him. Back in Germany, Henry is determined to retrieve the diary, as it contains vital information about the Grail's traps and the key to overcoming them. Henry and Indy set off on a motorcycle to Berlin. There, Indy tracks down Dr. Schneider and successfully retrieves the diary. Elsa, horrified by the sight of the Nazis burning books in Berlin, spots Indy but chooses to let him escape, sympathizing with his cause. However, their escape is short-lived as the Nazis, led by the ruthless SS Colonel Ernst Vogel, Michael Byrne, launch an attack on Indy and Henry. They narrowly escape aboard an airship, eventually fleeing in an airplane. As they make their way to safety, they learn from Sala that Walter Donovan is heading to Jordan in pursuit of the Grail. Walter Donovan successfully bribes the Sultan of Jordan with a Rolls-Royce Phantom to gain permission to search for the Grail on his land. Qasim, who is employed by the Sultan's court, sets out to stop Walter's expedition. Both the cult and Indy launch their attacks on Walter's caravan simultaneously. In the chaos, Qasim is killed by Vogel and his forces, but Indy manages to rescue Marcus and Henry. During the confrontation, Vogel meets his end, falling to his death from a cliff. Indy, determined to find the Grail, presses on, with Walter hot on his heels. He eventually reaches the temple that leads to the Grail chamber, but Walter catches up to him. In a tense moment, Walter shoots Henry and forces Indy to retrieve the Grail to save his father's life. Indy must navigate the ancient traps that guard the Grail's resting place. Only the penitent man will pass. Only in the name of God will you pass, and only the one with faith will pass. With his quick thinking and unwavering faith, Indy avoids each perilous obstacle and reaches the Grail chamber. Inside, Indy encounters the third brother, the last knight who stayed behind to guard the Grail. Now old and frail, the knight has been waiting for the next worthy person to come along and continue the Grail's legacy. Indy, after studying the cups before him, makes the crucial decision to choose the Carpenter's Cup, a humble vessel made of wood, while all the others are adorned with gold and jewels. His faith and wisdom guide him to recognize it as the true Grail. Walter, in his greed, chooses the wrong cup and drinks from it. The result is fatal. He is killed almost immediately, his body disintegrating as a consequence of his mistake. Indy, however, uses the water from the true Grail to heal Henry's wounds, restoring him to health. Dr. Schneider, still driven by her desire for the Grail, attempts to escape with it. Her actions trigger a massive earthquake, causing the Grail to fall into a crevice, coming to rest precariously on a ledge. Desperate to retrieve it, Schneider climbs down, but tragically, she loses her grip and falls to her death. In the aftermath, Henry, now healed, urges Indy to let go of the Grail and leave it behind. With a heavy heart, Indy listens to his father's wisdom and decides to leave the Grail where it belongs, allowing it to remain a sacred mystery.